As we've been tracking ourselves here at Yahoo Finance, a lot of different communities have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And no doubt, some of those adults recently graduated here feeling the impacts the most as more and more of those young Americans move back in with mom and dad. And here to discuss that data with us is Yahoo Finance's Sibile Marcellus. And Sibile, I wouldn't be surprised to see that number growing here.
That's right. So mostly as a result of being priced out of the housing market, we're seeing a majority of young adults living at home with their parents. But that does have consequences. Now, we did see this trend start before the coronavirus pandemic started, but the pandemic has exacerbated it with the 1-2 punch of making young adults both most likely to get laid off and also making it harder for them to find a job. Now, as a consequence of being priced out of the housing market, we're seeing the majority of young adults, many of them choosing to delay marriage and kids, and that is building resentment. Deutsche Bank actually put out a new report warning investors that aging populations are tilting the balance further against the young. Expensive house prices are continuing to create anger and resentment. Deutsche Bank also says that the coronavirus pandemic is disproportionately hurting the young economically, risking inflaming this resentment even further. Now, what Deutsche Bank is saying is that towards the end of this decade, what we could see is that millennials and young adults can increase in terms of voting power as they actually, by numbers, exceed those in older generations, thus electing a leader that may have more radical views and policies. Now, Deutsche Bank points to Bernie Sanders as an example here in the US. He was runner-up twice. He seems to be building momentum. He has a lot of support among young voters. And Deutsche Bank is saying that in order for older Americans, investors in financial markets, not to be victim or at least be impacted by a significant upheaval in housing and asset markets, tax systems, climate policy, and many other areas, what Deutsche Bank is saying is that now policymakers should work to seek to rectify the generational wealth divide over time by, for instance, instituting policies that would put higher taxes on wealth and unearned income.
Yeah, no, very important things to consider here, too. We've already talked about the student debt crisis as well. No doubt a big factor in all of that and delaying maybe some of these financial decisions and even, I guess, parenting decisions that a lot of millennials are facing out there as well. But Sibile Marcellus, appreciate you bringing us that.